Yo, peep these patch notes.
Everybody should have played RuneScape at this point. This is a game very similar to RuneScape. It's kind of like a callback class to the cult classic RuneScape. It's actually made by one of the co-developers of, or the co-creators of RuneScape.
Remember this now.
I believe his name is Andrew Gower. I think Gower maybe. I'm not sure. I'm sorry for murdering your name, Andrew. But yeah, he was one of the co-creators for RuneScape. This game kind of blends the immersive story with an extensive sandbox environment, where when it came down to that, very similar veins, right? You've got a lot of a very intricate world. It's not as detailed as like some of these other games that are coming out recently. It's kind of a not in the form of RuneScape, where RuneScape is more of like a polygon system. This actually has depth and 3D textures and everything like that to it, right? But very basic gameplay when it comes down to like an MMO in general, right? You're doing the same exact things you were doing in RuneScape. You're going out, you're killing things. It's a very blocky combat. I don't know if you're showing the character creator, but you might want to boot it forward a little ways into the actual gameplay.
You're really getting into this in-depth character creator.
They actually surprisingly they had a really impressive character creator. I was not expecting it to be that impressive.
But not
it's not like
stuff to it.
It's not like Black Desert, quality, but it's definitely
Why
not.
would it be?
That
would be
it's definitely not the worst thing in the world that I've ever seen when it comes down to like indie devs and everything like that. So it's this game has a very simple play style, right? You go, it doesn't have very in-depth combat. You click on things, you make sure that you have them selected and actually like targeted, and then you hit a button and your dude walks over to him and starts combat, right? It's just like RuneScape, same good, like right down to like you have so many life skills as well. I don't know the exact number, but you've got like fishing, cooking, alchemy, everything, right? You've got the basics, and they all have very in-depth like leveling systems as well. So like this entire game has like a progression system where it comes down to like everything is based off your character's level, and that level isn't just based off of your combat level, right? So like it takes into consideration your combat level, it takes into consideration your life skills levels, right? And that gives you like a huge number on the front of your person, and that's your full level, right? I'm trying to think of everything else. Like the visuals, again, very reminiscent of like a higher quality or a higher fidelity RuneScape. Still down to that 3D quality, but you're able to actually get in there and see. The most unique system on this is the fact that it has a tile system, which you guys have probably seen. Like each individual area is separated out between like a tiles. Like instead of like in RuneScape where it was just like one map, each individual tiles make up the entire map, right?
Are they each instances, or are they just like, is it just a fog of war? Like as you click to the further end of a tile area, I'm not entirely
sure if it's an instance based.
That's the main thing I saw like on this game originally when like the trailer came out, and everyone's like, oh, this is stupid, you have to like go to each tile like and load into each tile or something. And
well, you're not loading
how it was.
Like it's each individual tile, you're not really loading. You still kind of are. I think they're still kind of playing that same game that like what was it, Ratchet and Clank did with their
hidden load times.
Yeah, it's not, you don't have barely any loading time. It's a very quick transition between them. So I don't know. They could be instanced. I'm not entirely sure.
Gotcha.
Each individual area that I walked through was very populated. Granted, this is a very popular game at the moment. It's pulling in some pretty decent numbers, but I'm not hearing anything now. Hopefully we're coming through fine.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, the stream is fine. Everything is good. I'm just, I'm being my analytical or like overly perfectionist self. Continue talking about your 70-year-old RuneScape game that has now been updated.
Do you go anywhere past the first town in this that we can see?
You do. They have a weird system with this one. So they have gone in and they basically stated this is free to play. You can go and play it for nothing. They have it locked. It is out now. They have a very weird system. So it's free to play up to a certain point. Let me just go in and write story. I forgot to pull this. I was going to talk about it. Where was it? Story. They had, or Bright Shores, my bad, Shores. They have a progression system currently that's going on that's at a certain point. So Hope Fort and Hope Forest are the only two areas as a free to play that you can play in. You can then go and buy a premium pass, which I believe is $5, which gives you access to the rest of the content. Mines of Mantuban.
Is that a monthly pass?
I don't think it's a monthly pass. I'm pretty sure it's just a single purchase
premium pass, because that for $5, I guess that's fine. I would be fine with something like that.
So here's my thing: try to explain this game to me from a person who's never played RuneScape before, because I'm trying to understand what it reminds me
of. RuneScape before?
I've never played or even heard of RuneScape, to be honest. It looks like Sims to me. I'm sorry. Listen,
oh my God, Tony!
It looks like Sims to me. That's kind of funny. I can see that.
That is insane, dude.
Listen, the only reason they even came to mind is because I watch a streamer play Sims, and I'm just like, this looks like Sims. I'm sorry.
I mean,
that's crazy, man.
Down to the roots of it, it's still an archaic kind of MMO. I mean, like any other, but it's more. So I don't know how you would describe it. Not rough around.
So RuneScape, it's just a very it's just a very basic like if you think back to games like Ultima or like the original EverQuest games, right? EverQuest and Ultima inspired RuneScape very heavily, and RuneScape was just a very basic free-to-play MMO back in like the early 2000s that released and got extremely popular in a very niche way. It was almost like, do you remember Free Grounds? Those old like Free Grounds games?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was almost to that aspect. Like it became very cult classic. It got a very heavy cult following when it came down to things. And now you've got things like EverQuest. Is it vanilla or what's the re-release? Do you guys remember what the re-release name for it was?
Yeah, you really don't. I don't follow EverQuest too much.
Either way, yeah, they've tried to re-release it to be what it was back in the day, because they've updated it since. Obviously, it's gotten graphical updates and everything like that throughout the years, but they never really garnered that same popularity, notoriety, whatever you want to call it, right? So they're kind of trying to do the same thing World of Warcraft is doing, and they're trying to get back to that old school, the vanilla style, right? This game follows that original formula extremely heavily. It's very basic combat. Like I said, you're literally just clicking on things and hitting a button, or clicking on things and pressing the 1, 2, 3 key, right? I think the biggest draw that would draw somebody into this is definitely if they've played RuneScape and they're looking for that nostalgia feel, because current day players of like the current day MMOs are not going to like this. I don't really see this being something that like the new generation of MMO players are going to enjoy playing, right? Like it's not flashy. There's not a lot going on.
Gotcha.
It's very basic.
Simple and effective.
Simple and effective is the key terms for these. The actual premium pass was the biggest source of contention that I have. I'm like, if it's a monthly thing, which I don't think it is, Writer Shores.
That's a big pass. Like
this is different for me. Yeah.
I think this will draw the
it is a monthly
RuneScape players.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, okay. So
that's rough. Even for $5.99 for a 30-day subscription.
$5 is not the worst. It just really depends on how much content they're locking behind it.
They're locking both ends. They're locking 2 areas, Mines of Mantuban and Chronopolis. They're locking those 2 down. Unique character names, which was something that I saw. So when you enter your name in the starting areas in this whole port has a suffix. So it's got like my name is Enigma, but technically my name is Enigma #7. Apparently there's 7 other Enigmas out there, right? You have to pay for the premium pass to get a unique name, apparently.
To like lock your name.
They have exclusive armor dyes, which is whatever. They have the ability to change your name, which again is weird to me. And then they have player-to-player trading, which is locked behind the premium pass, which I can see that would combat bots to a certain extent, right? Like that's going to stop bots.
I think the main thing is the locking zone to me.
Yeah,
is like, but
it's a little weird
to lock that behind a monthly subscription is kind of weird. If you were to say lock it behind a pay once fee, still is kind of not the best, but
I could see it less.
You could do what Albion does, right? Like Albion Online, like you pay for a premium subscription to be able to, increase your life skills, make, progression a little bit faster or whatever else. I mean, they don't lock content behind it. I mean, it's a free to play game. It's top down. I mean, it's not this, but it's very close. I mean, it's an MMO top down.
I don't know if I would prefer that either, but
yeah, I'm not sure either. But it's again, it's one of those things where it's like you're hearkening back to the old school days of RuneScape. I played a lot of RuneScape back in the day. I like the game, but at the same time, I found it fairly dull when it came down to it. And I don't know if that's just the fact that like I've grown older and I've played all these other games like Black Desert, all these newer MMOs. I've outgrown.
You've outgrown
that. I've outgrown that original like pull for those very basic games. But on the flip side as well, though, like I did find some enjoyment in it. Like I could see the fun in it. It's very strange. The premium pass, I think that's the biggest problem that I have with the game is just like the premium pass seems weird to me, especially since like there's not a lot of content to begin with. Like they're locking two other options. You're granted Hopeport and Hope Forest are, from what I've been told, like huge. You're not only that, like the locking down of your actual skill growth, you're going to be spending a shitload of time just getting your skills up to the point that you can go into the Might of Mantabon. I don't know how to pronounce this, but from everything that I've heard from like Pro Templar, he's been playing it a little bit. He said that it like you can spend hours grinding your skills, grinding your combat, everything like that. And if that's something that you like, you'll probably enjoy it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the gameplay loop is enjoyable in that aspect. Would I necessarily put a ton of hours into it? Probably not. No.
Medieval Sims, bro. I like this.
Medieval Sims, yeah. That is a thing. That like Medieval Sims is a thing. There is a Medieval Sims game.
It's what it's giving me while I'm watching. So I'm just like, oh, that's
But yeah, like what we're watching right now. This is the extent of the combat, from what I can understand. So it's very basic. You get other weapons. Each of these individual enemies has certain resistances. Like in this instance. I think later on I was trying to hit him with like an ice weapon, and I found out these guys have ice resistance. So I was getting fucked by that because I didn't realize that right off the bat. So there is some granularness to it, or whatever you want to call it. Like there is a little bit of depth to it, but it's very basic. It's not going to win Game of the Year for the most intricate of MMOs, you know. So. But surprisingly, for a return to form for these guys, I think overall it feels like a love letter to like classic MMOs for sure. While still bringing some basic new ideas from the newer genres, and I think it manages to like balance the combat with existing non-combat activities, which I think is kind of nice. A lot of MMOs kind of struggle with that, right? You either pick whether you want to put your time into combat, or you pick whether you want to put your time into, gathering,
resource
crafting.
Gathering. Yeah.
So I think they do a really good job of juggling that. And it's supposed to be a completely player-driven economy, kind of like Albion Online. So that's going to be really cool.
Except you have to do player trading. You have to pay
for it. Yeah.
and you need players. So hopefully this game does well enough to get a player base. That's the main thing. Player-driven economies.
It's still less than what the RuneScape monthly fee is. So
yeah, they're like $9.99, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think they've only gone up for recently. Yeah, they were. It wasn't too long ago.
Well, I mean, keep in mind too, though, that you're talking about a player base. I mean, Old School Runescape, I just looked it up. Got a daily player base of 350,000. Total players is 58 million. You know, they're ranked
just
6th.
Old School too.
I mean,
that's just old.
I mean, Brighter Shores
about this game. Like, what?
Brighter Shores isn't doing too bad right now. All-time peak as of yesterday was 21,000 for a very niche game.
It's gonna look. It's gonna pull. I mean, niche in the sense
it'll
of
pull some.
Sure, like I mean, but again, you're targeting that old school RuneScape audience. Like, you know, if you read the chat comments, everyone's like, "This is not a carbon copy," and it's not. But it is still close. No. It's still close enough to be what, you know, the people that like old school RuneScape, the people that like those types of games are going to gravitate toward this. They're going to want to play it. They like it. It's free. You know, it's something that they can put time into
to a certain extent.
You know,
and they don't have many games of this genre in
there's not
catalog,
a lot of those.
You know what this screams to me though, like more than anything, and we've been talking a little bit about this, but I know that Enigma and I kind of talked off camera or off show about it, but this is just showing you that like MMOs are personally they're in a really bad spot. People are craving MMOs, especially the older style MMOs and things that are actually not just handheld. I'm gonna kind of feed you this content left and right. I really think, man, like WildStar, coming back right now would be I think it would do well, but like
you brought that up again.
Dude, Tony, you have not earned your stripes enough to fucking sit here and talk shit to me about WildStar.
So Tony, you will find he brings up WildStar every other fucking episode.
Dude,
it's literally
I love that game.
Yes, I'm right there with you, man.
I do agree with you though. I will agree with you that recent MMOs and like the trend of going back to like moving back to harder,
back to the roots, kind of.
Yeah, well, not even just the roots, but going back to those games where 2-3 years ago, hell, even 5 years ago, they wouldn't have been the popular ones. Are starting to become the popular ones, right? People are starting to want those hardcore experiences, those more time intensive experiences when it comes down to their MMOs, which is a complete like double standard from what they were saying previously, where they were like, we want these MMOs to respect our time more, right?
Right.
Like I don't know what shifted. I really don't know what changed.
I think a lot changed, right? I think you're talking about, the state of the world changed. You're talking about COVID changed, people being in home, people want more of a connected kind of thing, right? Yeah. And I mean, I'm actually, it's got me close, man. I'm really itching to try. I've been looking a lot of like at Ashes of Creation, and like that is another game that's going back to that older style MMO. And it's something that I'm interested because people are talking about that as well. So, we'll keep an eye on this. I mean, again, right now this is in early access. It's Brighter Shores. It is free to play, obviously, or the $5 or $5.99 a month. For that, but again, early access, you can give it a try for free, see if it's something that you like. And
they have.
Thanks all for tuning in to the Patch Notes. And if you enjoyed and want to see more, you can catch us live every Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, or catch us after the fact at anchor.fm/prepatch podcast. See you next time.